Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Cooking with Unity. I'm your host, Max Moreau, and with me is not my co-host, Philip Wilson. He is not here. He's still in California, having a good time, he says, but he misses all you guys. So today we're doing kind of an open session. We're going to be doing some things that people have asked on Twitter today and anything that you guys want to cover from the comments section. I'm going to be trying to keep a close watch on things. If it looks like I haven't kept up, I'm going to blame my tech on this. I've got my lack of a tech actually on this, but my technology on this. I've got an iPad here. I think is updating. I see a hello. Okay, good. Yay. So hopefully everything will go smoothly tonight. Let's get to the camera. Where is it? All right. So first off, I just wanted to share a couple things. It's Ludum Dare was this weekend, and I made an entry. You can probably find that somewhere, but I'm gonna just quickly go. It's not under my usual name. I usually go under Dragfire. This one's under Play Habit because I'm currently working at a company named Play Habit, and I had a group of people who wanted to do a project with me, so it was a lot of fun. We've got a time-lapse video up. It's a simple little game, but I think we did a really good job, and everyone there but me had never done a Ludum Dare project before, and I think everyone had a really good time. So check it out. And then the other thing I wanted to share is I was playing around with shaders recently, and actually writing some CG shaders, and I got to the point where I had a little bit more proficiency, and I decided to write something I'd wanted to write for a long time, which is a palletized color shader. And what this does is it takes two textures. The first texture is the main diffuse texture. Well, diffuse is a strong word. I'll explain more later. But it's the main color of it will happen with this. Well, not the main color, but like the value of everything. And then the second texture is the actual color that gets looked up based on the values. And so what you can do with this is some fun stuff. So I've got here a little sphere with the texture applied. What this is it's just a Perlin noise cloud texture. I'm just going to open it up real quick so you can see what we're working with. So this is just a like cloud noise thing. You could just generate clouds in Photoshop or pretty much any image program, and you'll get something similar to this. I made this one in Neo Texture Edit, and it's just a grayscale, functional system. And then I've got these gradients I made. These ones I just made in Pixelmator. This one's just black with a small band of white and blue, which is what you see here. And I've got a rainbow one here that's just like a red to red again through the whole color spectrum. And so what's cool about palletized color is we can actually animate the on the sphere here. I've set up an animation that just slides the offset for the second texture over a period of 1 second, and this is the result. I really like what you can do with this stuff. So you have kind of this caustic lightning effect that we can create, and this is because of the way that the cloud pattern works. And basically, we're just sliding the values through, and so it creates this cool glowing effect. And the other thing that's cool is we can actually even animate the period or change the period on the object, and it changes the way that it will. Well, it's not doing anything right now. I think it's actually. So it shows that it's changing up here, and it's not changing in here, and I think it's because of the fact that if I change it here... Oh, that works. It wasn't a live update for some reason. It has something to do with, I think, the fact that I animated the other components of it. So we can make it so that it's a lot more dense if we want. See, there's a nice big... Oh, wait, no. Yeah, the animation is just messing me up. I don't know why it's not showing up as red here to warn me about that. So what's happening here is the animation is setting it to 1. Oh, it's because I didn't have it selected. So that's what's actually going on here. So if I change it here now, it should actually do something. Hit play. Yeah, there. See, now you have more of a higher frequency version of it. And you can, of course, go lower as well. But what's cool is you can actually slide between the two. So, like, if I was to... let's make it slowly range to, so after 5 seconds, let's make it range to, we'll make it 10, and then at 1 second we'll make it 1, and then at another, hope you guys don't mind me just showing this off, but I think this kind of thing is fun. And then we'll set this again to 1 at the end. And this offset, what should the offset be there? So wait, it goes to well. Oh, I see. Yeah, I can't do these separately. Oh well, we'll just do whatever we're doing with the animation. I just want you to see the effect. See how it like basically zooms out, but it looks smooth the way that it's done. And if the other part was animating at the same time, it wouldn't look like it stops there. It kind of continues to actually animate at that phase. But you could do that for like a solidifying effect. I think that honestly, I think that there was something similar to that done in at the end of Half-Life 2. It was either at the end of Half-Life 2 or the beginning of Half-Life 2 Episode 1, where you are in the Combine Tower and they had this really cool shader on this sphere that was going to kill you, and I really like that. So yeah, so I just wanted to show that real quick. I'm going to post the source for this after the show, which will include this in case you ever want to use it. It's pretty simple. It is just vertex and fragment output, and I'm not doing any shading whatsoever, so like this doesn't like you can put a light in the scene, it won't do anything to this. You can have no lights in the scene, it'll look exactly the same. It doesn't do lighting, it doesn't do Lambert shading, it doesn't do Blend-Fong, it doesn't do any of the fancy like stuff that you would expect. I may convert it to a surface shader later so I can do all that stuff, but for the types of effects this is best for, probably doesn't matter that much. So let's see. So we had a couple questions on Twitter. I was asked to cover. I'm getting a lot of requests for more 2D. Which we're going to continue doing the 2D stuff. That's going to be a thing for a while, and I might do some 2D examples today to explain other things. The other thing that I was asked, and I've been asked this a few times before, and hopefully I'll be able to provide a good basic solution that you can work with tonight. But dialogue boxes and like character dialogue stuff. So we're going to start with that, and if there's any other stuff that you want to cover, just ask in the comments, and hopefully I'll see that. And be annoying. Like if you ask it and I don't seem to have noticed it, just ask it again later. Don't feel bad about that. I feel bad that I might not be able to keep up, but we'll see what happens here. I might just forget to look over. So I'm gonna save this scene just as a palletized scene. I just want to show you real quick too. Like if we do the rainbow palette, you get like this type of look. It's a little over the top, but it's kind of cool. Probably could do something with like a heat signature type thing and make it look a little bit more alive than people typically do in video games. It's kind of interesting. I don't see much palletized effects these days. It's something that was much more common in the 2D days, so we'll see what happens with in the future, I guess. But so I'm done with this now. I'm just going to save this level, create a new scene, and here we are. A new scene. So since people said 2D, I'm going to use 2D RPG for an example here. Let me just grab some sort of character or something for a sprite. These are all stuff that I can use. I'm just trying to figure out a little RPG character or something that can go talk to people. Why is that just .png? Oh, these guys look like RPG characters. Let's bring them in. Oh, and even RPG tile map. I'm not going to be able to make this fancy today. Yeah, we'll just make him this little C64 knight dude. What I'm going to do first is I'm just going to make it so these guys have an alpha channel, because right now their background here is black. So I'm using preview because it's not quick and dirty for doing this. We can just, where is the instant alpha? Is this it? Yeah, there we go. So let's do something along these lines. I want to make sure that we don't capture the eyes too bad. Now that's really hard to see. Alright. Save, and we'll just throw this into here. And we're not in 2D mode, so it doesn't automatically import as a sprite, so we're just going to change it to a sprite. And we'll do a pixels unit of like 8. And we're going to say multiple because there is multiple dudes in there. I'm going to go into the sprite editor, and I'm on the wrong texture, aren't I? Yeah, lightning gradient. This isn't what we wanted. Let me put this back to where it was. And actually grab the C64 Knight this time. So, sprite, multiple, sprite editor. I'm just going to hit... I don't want to auto-slice it, I'm just going to... Yeah, whatever. We'll manually grab a couple frames. So I'm just going to grab him, do a... oh yeah, we also want to make sure that it's not set to compressed. And go back into the... Oh, what happened to my thing? Apply, I guess? That was strange that it would even let me go off of that. So 8, go to the sprite editor. We're going to drag out a sprite here. You don't have to be too accurate because you can just do that and then hit trim. And I'm going to grab another dude on the right here. We're not going to animate him or anything. We're just going to have him move around and get an idea here. And maybe some... third dude, even though it's like the same dude. Apply. So now we've got a couple C64 Knights here. This was from a pack on Open Game Art, and it was CC0, so I don't even have to say who it's from, but you can probably find it searching for C64 Knight, and I will try and put the name in here at some point. I don't want to look it up right now, though. So, relevance of importance of pixels to units. So, all pixels to units does is, so I'm going to set this to 8 to start. And let's just drag a knight in here. So, actually, let's do 2D, and drag a knight in. That's fine. Alright, so here's our knight. And if you look at his position, so 0, 0... This is how big he is, and he, yeah, my crop did not do terribly well on this, so bear with me here. I'm going to change his filtering to point, so he looks a little bit less crappy. The reason he looked so bad is because of the way that I cut the alpha out. I really should have done it more manually, but I just wanted to get something working. So, that's the reason he's, like, fading out at the edges here. So, the significance of it is just, what this means is, if I say 8 pixels per unit, that means that if I move him over 1 unit, he'll move over, effectively, 8 pixels. And you can set this on a per sprite basis, and I think that's wise in a lot of cases. It's not good if you're trying to make something that's strictly old school, each pixel is a pixel 2D, but it's really good if you're making a modern 2D game. And the significance of it is... if you are using the physics systems, both of them kind of assume that 1 unit is 1 meter, and they both also kind of assume that 1 unit is like, if something is weight 1 and size 1, it will react in a way that feels appropriate physically like we would expect it to. And everything else is outside of that, outside of the range around the 1, is just an extension of that. And so things generally look the best when you do that, when you set the ratio to be appropriate to that. So you want your character to be close to 1 unit. So this guy is about like 8 units across, 8 pixels across, so I just said 8 for my size. And changing it, you'll immediately see what happens. So if I change this to, like, the default was 100, he'll get a lot smaller. If I hit apply here, see how small he is? This is because 1 unit is now 100 of his pixels. And so that's what it does. Bilinear, trilinear, and point makes a huge difference on sprites. The reason is, and as you actually already saw, so bilinear filtering is terrible for low-resolution sprite graphics. It's fine for, like, high-resolution sprite graphics. But the reason it looks terrible is because when you only have, like, 8 pixels, you don't want to like blur between them, especially if you're going to zoom in on them. So it's much better to have this crisp outline. And honestly, in my personal opinion, I prefer, especially in classic games, like there's a lot of games and emulators and stuff that you can play where you can turn on bilinear filtering. I always turn that off. It actually really irks me when it's on. Now, sometimes the reason that they do it is to cover up problems that they had in their resolution differences, especially if they're doing something cross-platform. Mega Man 9 is a perfect example. It actually did not have bilinear filter, or wait, it might have as an option, but I had it off. But they have this scintillation problem because the actual screen resolution is different than your screen resolution, and so some pixels are wider than other pixels. So yeah, I hope that kind of helps answer the question on that. If you're, as I said, if you're making something and you're not really worried about resolution, make it really high res and make it really pretty, and it'll look fine with bilinear or trilinear filtering. You'll almost never need trilinear for 2D, but and honestly, it's a rare day when I can tell the difference between the two. Occasionally, there's these situations that arise, but most of the time, bilinear just looks blurry. Trilinear looks the same type of blurry. And then point looks like you didn't do anything to it, which is awesome. So we have our dude here, and I'm just going to continue on. Thanks for the questions, guys. And I'm going to go ahead and make another dude here, and make our third dude. We're just going to make them separate dudes. We're not animating anyone here. So these will be our NPCs that we're going to talk to, and this is going to be our player character dude. And I'm just going to create a really quick movement script for him. Move. And this is just going to be really stupid quick. We've done stuff like this before on previous episodes, but I will walk through it again like I usually do. So we're just going to take our transform.position, which is where the character is at in 3D. Although we only really care about the 2D right now. And then we're going to add, so plus equals means add something to this and then put it back into this. So what we're adding to it is vector3.right, which is basically the direction that's facing right on the screen. Well, on the screen is not the right. It's the facing right in 3 space, but it will also be right on the screen in the case of our 2D example here. And then we're going to multiply this by input.get axis. Actually, I'm going to do this in the other order. It does not matter. It really doesn't, but I just like the way it looks better. Input.get axis, and we're going to use horizontal. And I'm just doing this in the vector math style because it's faster to set up and it's just one line then. So we do that times right. So this will get right or left on the stick, which will represent -1 to 1, and it will multiply that by vector3 right. We're going to need a speed here, so I'm going to put a variable called public float speed, and we're going to default it to 1.0. And we're going to take that speed variable and multiply that in. Actually, let's not do that just yet. Do you want to multiply it on both sides or just... It does not matter, so we'll do that afterwards. So we're going to take this group and we're going to add it to input.getAxis vertical. Now this is up and down on our stick or up and down on the keyboard. And we're going to multiply this by vector3.up. And then finally, we're going to take this whole thing and multiply it by speed and by time.delta time. So what this does is you're going to have a 0 to 1 for the horizontal, and you're going to multiply that by vector3 right, which is 1 unit. So if you, so this is just the basic movement stuff. Vertical, same thing, vector3 up, so this is the basic vertical movement. And then we're multiplying the whole thing by speed, which will be the same right now just because it's 1.0, but we can adjust it. And then time.delta time makes it time-based rather than frame-based. If we didn't have time.delta time, this 1.0 would represent the distance you move in 1 frame. With time.delta time, it means it's the distance that you move in 1 second. So this character should move up, down, left, right, at 1 unit per second once we attach the script. Alright, so let's go ahead and put our move script on night 0 here. See if it works. So we're going to do play, and yep, he's moving, and he's... Oh man, he's slow. Yeah, that's just brutally slow. Sweet. We're not going to do tile-based movement, even though that would be more appropriate for a RPG type game, because I want to get to the actual text dialogue box, which is the actual question. But this will be a good starting point here. I just want going to make him less tragically slow. So we're going to change the speed to 8. Yeah, that's pretty good. The reason he smooths in and out, by the way, is because the input manager in project settings by default, when you're doing keyboard input, it basically fakes having an acceleration curve. So basically it has this gravity and sensitivity. If we just jack this up, it will instantly move. So I'll do it on just one axis so you can see what I'm talking about. So now if I hit right, he's just immediately going full speed, and then he immediately stops. So if you want more of that type of movement, but if I do up and down right now, he kind of accelerates and then slides down. This is all happening because the input is acting like the left and right, and acting like the up and down is analog when it's actually digital. So if you want more responsive control, you can do that. I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the defaults again, but I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. If you're wondering, why is this guy sliding around? Okay, and let's save this scene as dialogue. So, where can you define the pixels per... Oh, there it is. Okay, so I didn't have to answer that. Point looks good. Blocky pixels are happy pixels. I agree. Blocky pixels are happy pixels. That's actually why I like the... my favorite example of a remake... as far as, well, not a remake, but like a emulation. It is kind of a remake, but it's exactly the same game. Sonic CD was brilliantly made. Like the new one is just brilliant. Like on every resolution, it looks great. The pixels are crisp. They extend the view to your aspect ratio, so like the game's kind of widescreen now, and they didn't do any distortion. They didn't make any of the mistakes that I've complained about in other programs. So that's good. And hopefully I'm going to have a special at some point, or do something on the 2D show where I show how to do the pixel matching stuff to the point where an anal retentive person like me will actually appreciate it. But I actually haven't had the time to actually go through and do that myself yet. So don't hold your breath is what I'm saying. So we've got our character. He's moving around. So let's make it so we can talk to the person when we're bumping into them. So we're going to need a... because someone asked about triggers too, and so this will apply. So let's create a trigger. We'll do the 2D components. So we're gonna do a box collider 2D, and we're gonna do a box collider 2D. We'll find out how much I actually need to do on this too, because I haven't done a whole lot of experimentation with the physics system. So we'll see how this goes. And we're going to create a new script, and we're going to call this NPC dialogue. L-O-G-U-E, there we go. And for the start, we're just going to make this really simple so that we can find out how things are going. I'm just going to make sure, I'm just going to see if we can get collision messages going. So let's do void on trigger enter. And I'm just going to do a debug.log here. I may not even use triggers when we're finally said and done on this, but let's see what we have first. So debug log, we probably wanted to actually say something. Triggered, yay. So hit save, and all this is just going to do is just print something out to our console, hopefully. And we're going to put this on one of our NPCs, and so how do you handle collision with other knights? Well, I'm going to kind of go over some of this right here. I have not put a rigid body on the red guy. Oh wait, I did put a rigid body on the red guy. I thought I had put... Here, I want to remove that. We may have to put rigid bodies on at least one of them if the physics 2D works the same way as the physics 3D, which I actually don't think it does, but that's just because I've had some experience with box 2D. That doesn't mean that Unity didn't make it consistent though. So we'll see what actually happens here. So we're gonna make this a trigger. I use trigger, right? Yeah. And let's just see if we get a trigger message when I walk into them, which we may not because it may require rigid body to actually work. Actually, it probably will. I just realized. Okay, yep, that didn't work. Let's give the main character a rigid body. Physics, rigid body. Oh, whoops. I need to actually give it physics 2D rigid body. There we go. And if we hit play now, and we move... Oh, wait. We have gravity now. Let's say is kinematic and see if that works. So we're going to do here. And nope. Let's just make sure he still has the scripts and everything we expect him to have. Yep, he has the script. On trigger enter. Yep, nothing happened. Oh, wait. That's because it actually needs to be on trigger enter 2D. Let's redo our tests. Alright. Console. Move. Still no luck. Alright. I think it's capital D. Alright, finally, let's do no gravity. Turn off kinematic. See why people ask questions on this stuff. Okay, triggered. We got it. So, what that means... I swore that kinematic... Okay, so this is why I said I'm not sure how this is going to work. So, Unity collision matrix. I just want to see. This is the 3D collision. And I haven't actually double-checked to see if they've updated their documentation for the 2D, but they don't have a lot from what the last time I checked. So, normally, a kinematic rigid body collider should be able to collide with a static trigger collider. So, that's kind of disappointing, actually, that doesn't work. It doesn't seem like that works in 2D, at least. So, if I do kinematic again, and we hit play... and I walk over here, yeah, we got nothing. There's nothing printing. But if I was to change him from kinematic to non-kinematic, okay, we've got triggers. So yeah, what this means is we've already established that we cannot rely on these matrices anymore for the 2D tools because they're not exactly the same tools. And so they probably will have updated documentation for this. Let's see if there's anything. Unity 2D collision matrix. Let's see if I get lucky. Is the 2D physics collision matrix different? Well, I can attest that it is. Not being able to have kinematic triggers makes things really crude. Yeah, I agree. Alright, well, that might be a good reason to actually not go with the 2D collision system, especially if you're doing simpler stuff, which is ironic, I do realize. Because if you're doing simpler stuff, you'd think that you'd want to use simpler tools. Is there anything we can do to... Oh, yeah, there's no, like... Well, we can just get away with having it non-kinematic. The reason this can be a problem when you're doing a game is if you're actually colliding with something as well... you might spin off because of the collision. And so yeah. How did we actually keep the dude from rotating on... because I don't see the locking position stuff, lock rotation stuff. If you'll indulge me for a moment, I just wish to see what... No, that doesn't help me. Save scene, save project... I'm just curious what we actually did in our own project here. So, cooking with Unity 2D, that should be the most recent one. Alright, so on here, for the player, how did we keep him from rotating? Box, trigger 2D, ground checks... Fixed angle. Oh, okay. That's what fixed angle means. I don't know why I didn't see that, but there we go. So open project, go back to what we're doing today. Yeah. And someone figured it out, and they probably figured it out well before I did, but I just saw the comment because of the delay between broadcast and what the real time. I wish they could get that down, although that might admittedly be on my end. I'm on bad internet here. So, well, not bad, but I mean, I'm happy that it's as good as it is I can do my show. So, for right now, we're just going to do kinematic, non-kinematic, and I'll just go ahead and do fixed angle, even though it's not going to make much of a difference. And I'm going to put NPC dialogue on this guy as well. And let's just start with him bumping into him, and we might trigger it differently later. So let's make a Boolean on his movement script called public bool movement active equals true. This will be so that we can actually stop the character movement when we start talking to people, so you can't just wander off. Although I've seen some games that do that. Movement active, so we'll set if movement active, then we actually move our character. Otherwise we do nothing. This is just in preparation. And to Alex, I know that it does work because we had the player character falling off and rotating as he did so when we had fixed angle not applied before. It doesn't do much unless your character's actually being affected by physical forces. So, like, if we bumped him with a ball, he would slide over and not rotate. But if we bumped him with a ball without fixed angle, he'll rotate as well. He'll get rotational velocity. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case because I know that we had that problem and I know that we fixed it, and that thing had fixed angle checked, so that's what I'm thinking was the case. I'm used to the 3D one where you actually have the ability to fix any of the rotation and positions, which is really nice. So, on trigger into 2D. So, we're going to need some dialogue, so I'm going to create a public string dialogue. And this will be more fancy later, but we'll just start with just equals hi. We'll do more than one dialog box. We'll do a few different things here. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna need this guy to say it somewhere. So I'm gonna create a 3D text. And this is gonna be a really crude dialog box system. So it starts by saying hello world and starts looking just absolutely terrible, and I have no idea why their defaults are like this, but they are. So we're going to make a couple adjustments here. So first, I want the text to not look terrible. The way you do that is you set the font size to something ridiculous like 100, and then you set the character size to something small like 0.1. And now, well, it's hard to tell, but it is better than it was before. Trust me on this. Yeah, we'll do something like 0.2. There we go. And alright, so we've got our little hello world text here. And I'm going to write some dialogue real quick. I'm doing text edit because I don't want to do it directly in here. You can't insert enters in here, but it does actually absolutely support multi-line entry. So I'm just going to use a text editor to, once I click it properly, to put in some dialogue. So here is some sample NPC dialogue. Here's the second line. Here's the third line. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on word wrapping on this one, but I'm sure that you can figure out your own solution. Well, not 100% sure, but you probably will be able to find your own solution at some point. But this will work in the manual case, and you're going to want to have a loop. Maybe we'll cover it on the show. I don't know. I'm already second guessing myself on that just because I kind of want it to be robust. So we've got our text here. I'm going to create a little background for it. I'm just going to create a cube. And we're going to make it black. So create a material. I'm going to call it black. And we're just going to set it to black. We're going to throw this on our cube. And then make our cube big enough to cover our dialog box. So where's our cube? I'm going to do a resize operation here. It's probably big enough. A little bit bigger. And we'll move it down. So this is our very ugly looking programmer art version of a dialog box. And I'm going to go ahead and group these two things together. We're going to create an empty game object. I'm going to put it in this as the same position as the cube. So copy component, paste component values. The reason I'm doing this is so that when I parent the cube in here, it will be at 0, 0, 0. So it represents kind of the center of the object. And we're going to call this a dialog box, and I'm going to call this dialog text. Throw this inside there as well, and then we're going to call this background. So we have a little dialog box thing here. And we could do this a couple ways. We could have it so that it exists on the screen somewhere. We'd have it where it's hidden and we bring it up. That's probably the most appropriate because you're probably not going to have multiple dialog boxes. But yeah, let's actually just have it there, but we'll disable it. So we'll bring it up when we're using it. So this is our dialog box. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a special tag too. We'll call it a dialog box. That way we can get at it from code. Could you have used a sprite image? Yeah, we totally could have. I just didn't feel like dragging in a black sprite image. I mean, all I'm doing is just making it so that the text is readable. That's really the whole goal of that. And you could even make it, semi-transparent. You could make it fancy. I mean, if you were making Final Fantasy VII, you might make it, old RPGs, you could change the gradients. Like, you could user define the background gradients for text and stuff. So you could make, like, each corner a different color, and it would, like, between those. I'm not going to be covering all that, but I just wanted to show basically kind of how to get something set up. So we have our dialog box there. And if we hit play, how does that actually look when we show it up? Good enough. I'm going to move it up just slightly. -2, I guess. And, oh wait. Yeah, that didn't count. There we go. -2. So, so I'm just going to have these guys automatically get the dialog box first. So in the start, so that we don't have to incur that every time. So it's going to create a private variable, private text mesh dialog box. Actually, that's not appropriate. Private game object dialog box, and then private text mesh dialog text. So this is going to represent the parent object here, so that we can enable and disable it, and the other part is going to represent specifically this component of this object, so that we can actually set the text to whatever the NPC wants to say. In this case, hi. So so in the start here, we're going to actually fill those in. So dialog box equals game object dot find game object with tag, and I think we called it dialog box. And then, so I don't think I properly tagged it. Nope, I didn't. I just made the tag. So it's going to find this object. And then what we're going to do after that is we're going to make the dialog. Why did I go with that word? Especially that spelling of it. It's just going to kill me. I actually probably am spelling it wrong, too. I'm not even thinking. I didn't even check before the show. Sometimes my spelling is off. So this one is just going to be, we're going to take the dialog box, and then we're going to find, or wait, so this is a game object, so we need, actually no, get component in children. We're going to get our dialog, get component in children. The type will be text mesh. So this assumes that we only have one text mesh in our thing. This may actually change when we have options to say, so this might have to change in the future, but this will work for our testing for right now. And so when we trigger it, all we're going to do is we're going to just display it for right now. So dialog box dot active. So set active true. And let's just start with that and see what happens. So we're gonna hit play. Gonna run over to this guy, and null reference exception, object not set to an instance of an object. Oh, weird. Why did that get called so early? And why did it not find my dialog box? Why did he trigger? Oh, I guess I did walk over him. Alright. Find game object with tag dialog box. Is that how I spelled it? Dialog box? No. L-O-G-U-E D-I-A-L-O-G-U-E. That looks right. Let me do a paste real quick to see if I'm just crazy. That looks right. That looks right. Oh, okay. I think I know what's happening. No, because start should happen after the objects are set up. So what's happening is we're setting up a basic NPC dialog box thing for like an RPG or something. And I'm already running into an issue for some reason. Game object, find game object with tag dialog box. And that's somehow returning null? Is that what's happening? Debug.log dialog box. Yep, it's totally null. Oh. The classic Unity blunder. Okay. Yeah, I remember why now. Oh, that's frustrating. Okay, so for whatever reason, find game object with tag will not find objects that are disabled. I know, it's dumb. It's really, really, really dumb, and it actually has caused me great deal of pain because of it. So let's just enable it, and then these guys will, in the start, also... No, but they all need it. Okay, so we're going to have to just grab it a different way. Well, we're just going to do it with a passed-in reference for now. That's really dumb. Man, I forgot how much that frustrates me. Oh, my scaling on this is really dumb too. Hold on. Copy component. Actually, let's see. 28.6. Let's do 28. I'm just doing some cleanup here because it would really annoy me. 1. Generally don't want your transforms imparting scale when they don't need to. So if I hit play, does it still look right? If I make it visible. No, I made it look all wrong. So let's look at this thing. Oh, did I put the... No, I don't know what I did. I'll just move it into position and it'll be fine. Alright. So... Alright, let's create a quick and dirty dialogue manager. Create C# script dialogue manager. And all this is going to do is just going to have a public game object dialogue main dialogue box. And that's like literally all it's going to have. Save. This is the quick and dirty hack portion of Unity here. So dialogue manager. In a perfect world, I'd set this up as a singleton, but it's an imperfect world, and we're just going to set this up as an object that's in the scene, and we assume that it's in the scene. And I'm going to actually tag this as dialog box. Actually, I'm going to change the tag to dialog manager. And the main dialog box is this one. Now we can set this to hidden, and then instead we're going to grab so dialog game object dialog manager equals find game object with tag dialog manager with capital D. Dialog box is equal to dialog manager dot, what do we call it? Main dialog. Okay, it's not showing up for some reason. Did I not save this? File save. It's saved. I don't know. This is what we want though. Dot main dialog box. Oh, that's because, okay, got it. So actually we want, so dialog manager dot get component dialog manager dot dialog main dialog box. There we go. And now this should work as we expected it to. So let's see what we got. I hit play. Null reference exception already. Why? Huh. Did we not actually put the script on here? We did. What's it doing now? This has been really exciting tonight. I'm sorry, folks. Dialog manager. Is that actually a real tag? Oh, it's not tagged as that. Even though... Oh. Thanks, Unity, for doing things for me that you thought I should be doing. I'm going to blame Unity on that one. So because I had given it a tag, I thought I'd deleted the other... Okay, whatever. I'm done now. Hit play. Walk over. Bam! Dialog box. Yay, okay, something worked. So now we wanted to actually say what this guy's saying. So we're just going to also set dialog text dot text. So this is a part of the text mesh component. The text is called text. So dialog text.text equals dialog. We hit save, we hit play, run our dude over. Oh, null reference exception, didn't get something going on. Does get component not work too if they're disabled? Is that really a thing? Alright. This is just silly. Public text mesh main dialog text. Save. Go back in here. Alright, let's just go. Let's cut straight to the chase. We're going to do dialog manager equals this dot get component. Just re-sorting this a little bit. And then, so dialog box equals... Actually, let's just keep the dialog manager. Who cares? We'll just directly set it through there. Public dialog manager, private dialog manager. And we don't even care. We'll just do the rest through it. So this will be dialog manager dot main dialog box dot set active true, and dialog manager dot main dialog box dot text dot what would we call it? Main oh wait, we don't want main dialog box. We already failed. Main dialog text dot text equals dialog. I really hate it when I get jammed up on this stuff, but I mean this happens to everyone. And so sometimes you just have to kind of work through stuff. So late to the party. So this should actually work this time. Bam. Null reference exception. Oh, I know what happened this time. We didn't actually set the variables. So main dialog box, bam. Dialog text, bam. So now we hit play, and finally the moon is eclipsed, and let's not... How is it not set to an instance of an object? Dialog manager. Alright. Debug.log dialog manager. So it shows that it should be working. Oh, wait, do we have another thing with that component? It showed up twice. That's a bad sign. So hit play. Shows up twice. So do we have two instances of it? Is that the problem? No. Not on there, at least. Did I put it on the dialog box or the dialog text? No. Did I put it on main camera? Did I put it on one of the knights? Oh, wait. Okay. Of course we have it twice because both of them get the dialog manager. So wait, what's not working then? Is it actually not somehow... Dialog box. Dialog text. I hit play. These things are still there. I bump into the dude. Null reference exception. Debug.log. This thing. Is this a real thing? Am I crazy? I'm creating a new local variable. Where am I creating a new local variable? It's probably really obvious I'm missing it somewhere. I'm just going to see what this does first. Why didn't it print out anything? It should have said at least null there. It didn't debug log anything. Debug log WTF. What the fuck? Well, we got the what the fuck. Oh, wait, I guess we're getting the exception earlier. So that is indeed null somehow, or is not an object somehow. How? Like, it would be one thing if... Is there something else that's marked as dialog manager? Did I... There. That's it. I'm stupid. Untagged. So it was just searching for things and it got what we didn't want. Alright. Problem averted. I say that now. But I do believe, for real, that this is going to work. I believe it so much that I'm removing my debug logs. I'm hitting save. But I am crossing my fingers. That's how much I believe. I believe it enough that I deleted my debug logs, but not enough that I'm... My fingers were not enough. Do we have something else tagged? Is there anything tagged here? No, there's one thing tagged with Dialog Manager. Am I spelling Dialog Manager right? Alright. Undo, get my debug logs back in there. Save. Alright, let's do another thing. I'm going to put a comma here and then put Dialog Manager again. This will at least allow us to see if we are, which object it thinks the Dialog Manager is. So, that one thinks it's that one. They both think that it's that one. Alright. You saw that it jumped up here, like if I don't know what the situation is where it actually... It's supposed to highlight it every time you click them, and it used to be really reliable on that. Now it seems to highlight it as it... I saw it highlight once, I swear! 113, get rid of variable declaration. Oh, God. Thank you. I am shame. Hold on. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm really sorry. Sorry about all that. So what had happened here is I declared a variable with the same name as Dialog Manager, but it was a new Dialog Manager, and so this was still set to null, but in here it was debugging properly. Thank you. I know how painful it was for you watching me. For me, it's even more painful, and I'm sorry about that. I apologize. He said hi. What an exciting day this is. Hooray for imagination. So, So yeah, let's have this guy say something different. Good day, sir. The red evil guy is going to say good day. So we're going to go over to the red evil guy, and he actually isn't a trigger, so I'm bumping against him. But if he was a trigger, he would say... Well, he would say, good day, sir. There we go. So let's set him to a trigger this time. And, so now we have two different guys that can say two different things. And actually, they probably will switch if I do this. So that's cool. We've got something that's akin to dialogue. Let's actually make it a little bit more appropriate. So let's make it so that we get our player, which we're going to actually mark as a player right now. Before I forget, I'm going to hit save scene, save project. And what we're going to do is... I've done the same thing, but it took me 2 days to figure it out. This is from the comments. This is WWR Wrestling Incorporated or whatever. And the thing is, I've had that problem too, with this exact problem, and my artist found the bug. So have your friends look at your code, even if they are not programmers, because sometimes they'll be like, hey, isn't this wrong? So we're going to get the player. I'm going to do it on the trigger as opposed to storing them, just because someone might use the script later and be like, why is this not working? So GameObject.find GameObject with tag player dot get component move dot what did we call the variable? Movement active. Dot movement active equals false. So now when we bump into this, that's going to be the last thing that our player ever does. Bam. In this universe, he is no longer going to be able to do anything. We're going to have to destroy his whole universe by removing the play button here. And so let's actually make it so that we don't have to do that next time. So so if movement is not active, so else, we are in dialogue mode. You might not be able to make this assumption in your own game, but we can make it for this example here. So we're in dialogue mode, so let's make it so that if input dot get button down, we'll use fire 1. I think that defaults to control, so these are just the defaults there in the input manager. So if you stay fire 1, then we will, for right now, we're just going to get the dialogue manager, which I'm just going to grab the same way that we did here. I thought I copied more than that, but I guess I didn't. I thought I copied... Nope, just below it. That was stupid of me. So we have a dialogue manager, and we're just going to do dialogue manager dot main dialog box dot set active false. So we hit play, and I've got some problems here. Dot main dialog box dot set active. Oh, whoops. False, as in actually false, not this text string that says false. So hit play. Bump into a dude. Oh no, I can't move. I hit enter. Control. And I can move again, yay! No, I can't actually move, because we forgot to actually set movement active. Movement active equals true. So now we bump into a dude. Hi! And then we hit control, and then we can bump into another dude. Good day, sir! And we hit control, yay. And you won't re-trigger these guys until you move completely off of them. That may or may not be a problem for whatever game you're making. Your game's probably not going to move quite like this too if you're making an RPG, but you know, we have a very basic system here. So let's make it multi-line dialogue real quick. So let's make it so they can say multiple things. So we're going to change the string here to probably have to do something similar to bring it up. Yeah, in a full project, we'd probably do something where the player, when you hit the interact button when you're near an NPC, like when you're in the trigger box, the player will send a message to the trigger. If it responds with this, then you get a dialogue box, that type of thing. I'm not doing that here because it's just detail work, and it's all this always ends up as detail work, and you can really work through it. Like someone mentioned here, my dialogue manager has gotten to be pretty spaghettified. It probably will, but you can always rewrite it and always kind of clean it up later. But you're going to have a lot of edge cases in these really simple seeming things, and I mean, you saw how much I got jammed up on this thing today when we haven't even gotten anything interesting working on it. So I'm changing dialogue to dialogue lines, and we're going to make it an array. And so this one's going to, we're going to default it to, I think you can declare an array like this, so this will still have a default here. And we'll see if that actually is the right way of doing that. And what we're going to do is, when we trigger here, we're going to have to keep track of which dialogue string we're on. So private int, no. What was that? Private. Evidently the keyword private isn't in the database for right this moment. I swear the new version of MonoDevelop has more bugs than any version I've ever used. So private int, like not an interface or internal, just an integer, please. Current dialogue line equals 0. And so if we trigger, what we're going to do is set it active, set the text to dialogue lines, current dialogue, current dialogue line, and I'm going to actually make this proper camel case. I don't, just so that I'm consistent, so I don't trip myself out too much. And so this should work exactly the same as before for right now. So let's see if this does. Bad array declarator. Okay. Rank specifier precedes the variables identifier. I'm just going to not default it to anything. So, we still have a problem here. Oh. That wasn't where my problem was. I put this in the wrong place. So, string array, dialogue lines. Let's see if that fixed it. Yay! Alright. So, let's go to our night 1 here. And let's see what we've got here. So, now we have a list of dialogue lines. It starts with hi, sweet. And hopefully this will still work exactly the same as before. Hi, yay, it did. And we can move over, and he says hi because he no longer has what we put in there because we replaced that variable with this one. So, and that is what was messing up the autocomplete, thank you. Still, I wish that the autocomplete was a little bit less picky about that. Like, if it would just be like, yeah, that's not a good line, let's just look past that. Admittedly, I do know how tough that is, considering I had to write something similar for that, like that for Sony. So, but it can be done. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to set it to the current dialogue line, and we're going to now make it so that so this shows the first line, and we're going to set current dialogue line ++. And what we're going to do now is, instead of just unfreezing the character, So dialog manager, we're going to do some more with this. Public, already writing myself in the corner here, aren't I? So these guys do all of this crazy stuff, and this guy does some crazy stuff. Main dialog box set active. So we're gonna have to tell the current talking NPC that we are interested in hearing more. So let's do a public NPC dialogue, current NPC dialogue. So now we're just using this as references. We probably would build this into the dialogue manager a little bit more explicitly. But let's just see what we can get working here. So, so we do all this, and we also need to set NPC, dialog manager dot current NPC dialog equals, and we're going to use this for once in our Unity lives. What this means is it's the same as this component, so it basically is just passing this instance of this component into the current NPC dialog. Didn't mean to zoom in, although it doesn't really look that bad. I'm just gonna zoom out one. And so what we're gonna do now is we instead of setting the movement active, we're going to tell the NPC to do something. So I'm going to create a function here called void next line. Save. Oh, I guess I didn't need to do that at all. We could have just had this thing manage the input stuff. Whatever. This will be fine. So we're going to tell dialog manager dot current NPC dialog dot, did I actually make this public? No, I didn't. Public void next line. So dot next line, and we're not going to set our movement active at all. And actually, since we're calling a function, we could have it return true or something. Oh, we'll get fancy in a second. So next line. So in next line, we're going to basically do the exact same stuff here. If dialog lines current dialog line. Oh wait, this raises an exception if we're outside of range, doesn't it? Actually, okay, so we'll check this. If current dialog line is greater than or equal to the length of our dialog lines, length. This means that we're not outside of our bounds here. Then we set our text to here, and then else we're going to end our current dialog thing. So first we'll reset the current dialog line to 0, and we will make our dialog manager main dialog box active false, and then we will make our player able to move again. So we'll just throw this here now. True. And let's see what this does. What we have right now. Alright, so I move, I go over here, he says hi, I hit control, index is out of range. Is greater than or equal to dialog lines dot length. And for some reason, oh, wait, yeah. Huh? So length is 1. Okay, let's try this again. Boop, high, control, index out of range. Doing button down, so it's not like it was getting hit twice. Alright, let's debug.log current dialog line. Save. Maybe he was getting multiple collisions or triggers or something. So hit control. It's 1. Okay. Debug.log dialog lines.length. Oops. Save. Play. 1 and 1. Do I have another local variable that I'm doing that I'm not realizing? What's... This has been such a bad code night for me. I'm gonna blame the fact that Phil's not here. This is entirely Phil's fault. My lucky Phil is not here to make this show awesome. And this is what I get. So, if current dialog line is greater than or equal to dialog lines.length. Oh, I'm retarded. I need this to be exactly the opposite. That was rubber ducky programming. Remember, talk it out and you'll figure out the problem. So now this is going to work. Boop. Hi. Yay, it worked. Hi. Yay, it worked. Now let's see if it works for multiple lines. So let's say hi. And then since we said someone established that this is a good guy because he's green, he's going to say, I'm a good knight. And then... this guy's going to say, I am an evil knight. Evil knight. Note that the bad guys never use contractions. That's how you can tell that they're evil, is that they don't contract their statements. Never colloquial. So, we are going to walk over, hi, hit control, I'm a good knight! And hit control again, and nothing happens. Oh goodness, why did nothing happen that time? It's looking like we're doing better at least, so let's see what's going on here. So, when is it that we're doing this? Update, if movement active. Movement's not active, so it should attempt to send next line to the current NPC at any given time. So let's see what happened here. So, go over here, hi. I'm a good knight. Oh, I know the problem. We don't actually increment the, we increment current dialogue here, but we don't do it here. So it's just always feeding us the same line over and over again. Whoops. Not where I wanted it. I wanted it here. Save. One more time. This is going to be the one. Boop. Hi. I'm a good knight. Yay. Hi. I'm an evil knight. I am an evil knight. So now we can establish that the green guy is a good knight and the red guy is an evil knight. And oh my, look at the time. That was a long time for the little bit of dialogue that we did. We'll cover more of this later. It's going to be something we're going to have to hit eventually anyway, and we will reorganize it better. But yeah, so yeah. I'm gonna call this a wrap for right now, unless anyone has something that's really, really cool that I can show in like 5 minutes or something. But I think this is gonna be what I do. I actually really wanted to have a dialogue choice system implemented, but obviously not happening because bad code day. But as I said, we will revisit this. It's something that I've wanted to do. RPG is on the list of things I wanted to do on the show, and so I'm gonna put my camera on while I'm gabbing. How do I do that? There we go. But yeah, so I've wanted to do RPG on the show. Part of the reason that I haven't done it is because it is huge. Like, it is, even a simple one is just a huge amount of work. And there's a lot of concepts that we have to deal with, and there's a lot of stuff that's really hard to handle with homegrown tools. In the case of making an RPG, I'd almost certainly, like if I was making one myself, I'd almost certainly scour the asset store first for a lot of the tools that I'd be writing myself otherwise. That's one of the reasons I really like the asset store, is because it really does enable people to be kind of one-man studios. If you just have yourself and a small amount of funding, you can buy little tools and little packages and kind of make games without having to necessarily get a team together that covers all the bases of art and all the other stuff. And so yeah, in the case of like NPC stuff, I'm sure that there's some good packages out there. I haven't used any yet. But if we do our own show, like the typical show standard, we'll be doing our own tools unless there's some really significantly good free ones that we can use. Because I tend to be picky about my stuff, and I found really good professional tools, but I on various projects, but I try to keep the show free, like in every sense of the word, both free as in free software and also free as in beer. So I don't see much else going on here. Let me just see if there was anything that came up in the dialogue here. You should add an eclipsing moon now to end this episode. Yeah, I really should. So first of all, I didn't give a call out. Shaitan, Sheitane. Thank you very much for giving me the line number of where my problem was. I really appreciate that. You have no idea, and I'm sorry that you had to watch me cringe through that whole thing. Thank you very much, and thank everyone for dropping by today. I really appreciate it. And we will be doing more 2D stuff tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. Sorry, Thursday. Thank goodness it's not tomorrow. I love doing the show, but like, I just thank goodness it's not tomorrow. I'm going to sleep tomorrow. I did Ludum Dare this weekend, and it's kind of messed up my weekend. Like, it was fun. I had such a good time, but like, man, I didn't really have a weekend in the sense of just sitting down and doing nothing and playing video games. So, thank you guys very much for joining me tonight, and you guys have a great couple days before the Thursday. I guess we'll see you Thursday. That's how we'll say it from now on, because now it's not sure it's going to be a week or less. So see you Thursday for Unity 2D, and thank you guys for watching, and you guys have a great night.